Hi guys, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of the No Code Innovation. I have here with me Steve Higgin from TAAP, the CEO. TAAP, you see right here. So just going to quickly go ahead and ask a quick couple of questions to Steve about the event and the no code and the digital transformation, everything. But before that, Steve, why don't you introduce yourselves to our audience?
Of course, thank you, Sez. I'm Steve Higgin, CEO and founder of TAAP. TAAP is the Agile Application Platform. It's a technology platform that's been running since 2004. It's operating on a global basis, and we've delivered into kind of almost every industry and every sector. So it's been a fantastic event to actually kind of raise the profile of our technology and to kind of work with the people in this region. So thank you.
Great, glad to hear that. So TAAP, so Steve, let me ask you this in terms of the low code, no code technology itself. How do you see it accelerating the digital transformation in various industries? And what do you think would be the challenges that people face in terms of adopting these solutions in the right way? Because yesterday I seemed to have a conversation with you where we discussed that there's a lot of gap between the IT and the business within any kind of organization. And that gap is creating a number of challenges in terms of creating a false image of sorts about the no-code technology itself as to how it is perceived by them. Okay. So just wanted to quickly pick your brain on that.
So no-code and low-code isn't new.
Yep.
It's been around since the late 90s, early 2000s. But the problem was that the software and the tools that were created then weren't particularly good. Mm-hmm. And a lot of IT teams and people got burned with actually technology that wouldn't scale, wouldn't deliver what they wanted. Mm-hmm. So actually they've shied away from this type of technology historically. Okay. So where modern platforms like ours have actually come into the front, we've actually shown businesses how you can do things much more quickly. You can collapse the software development lifecycle. You can actually then work with actually subject matter experts to build systems. The problem is that when the businesses have then taken it back to IT have been silent assassins. No, we don't want to touch that. We don't want to go through that sort of world of pain again. So part of the problem is that actually business to a certain degree has actually been fighting the corner for mm-hmm. no code to move mm-hmm. it forwards, mm-hmm. but actually IT have actually been much more cautious. The interesting thing that's happened recently with generative technology, generative AI combined with low code and no code is actually now back into the kind of mainstream in terms of actually driving business forward. Mm-hmm. So now we have a situation where actually IT are much more open to the technology. And at this event with the people that we've been talking to, they're very excited about moving forward and actually kind of benefiting from what no code technologies can actually do for their business.
Absolutely, great. And we were also discussing, so let's break down the myth out here that we have that's been talked about almost everywhere. Anybody tries to talk about low code, no code. Is low code, no code a threat for the IT professionals, or is it more of an enabler for these professionals to go ahead and make things even better? What do you think about that?
So no code as a technology effectively is a catalyst for change. It's mm-hmm. effectively allowing organizations to actually digitally transform at a much greater pace. But what it's really doing is actually apportioning the work to actually the subject matter experts and business analysts to be able to then work with the specification on the front end, while allowing the IT teams that are normally overloaded to actually focus on the complex tasks. So this is a reapportionment in terms of actually how work can be partitioned. The concern that IT people had originally was the fact that actually all this no-code technology is going to come in and I'll be out of the job. It's not that at all. It's about actually then making the business and IT much more relevant to each other so they can together do actually much more quickly and be a lot more agile. Hyper agility is the term. So yes, they don't need to worry about the future. There's more and more business that's coming their way because rather than digitizing just a small proportion of the business that they can afford to do, they can now digitize everything, which actually then gives an organization a much greater insight into the actionable insights of the business.
Perfect, great. So tell me about this, Steve. How do you see the promoting of the technology itself, the learning and development in this industry? How do you think events like these, no code innovation, is going ahead and contributing to that? And a little bit about how your experience was and why do you think that events like these should be hosted by us more often?
I think the main thing is actually there's an awareness issue in terms of the fact that we're all bombarded with so much marketing and so much promise about what technology can deliver. We're all very cynical about actually what it can achieve. Okay. So where you have events like this and you bring people into a forum where they can test and talk to each other and understand without threat or compromise about actually the experiences they've had, And especially with technology like this, where you can show it to people, it's breaking down the barriers. It's actually making it much more accessible for people to actually understand about how they can take this technology. A lot of the time their concerns are, can it scale? Can we actually then build solutions that are actually going to grow as the business does? And historically, the problem with no-code and low-code technologies, it's been a big problem and a big concern, because they'll get to a certain point, then have to stop everything and start again. With these technologies, these are enterprise scale solutions.
Right.
They can work on native devices as well. They can operate completely disconnected. So we're light years ahead from where we were. And then combining that with generative technology, now the technology is moving faster and forward even more quickly than before. So it's quite an exciting time for people to kind of get into this, because unless you actually jump in, you'll never really know. And you can start off very simply with simple projects, learn a huge amount, then understand how to extrapolate that out.
Makes sense, makes sense. So what does TAAP have in terms of going ahead and filling the gap of solving these challenges? Just a couple of things that you can mention.
So the TAAP platform has existed for 20 years.
Yep.
We've deployed it to every industry and sector and on a global basis. And the journey that we're on now from an awareness perspective is actually allowing organisations and ISV partners to experiment with this technology and push the envelope. So now inside the technology, even as no code, we now have multi-user video complex applications where you can create those in a few minutes. You can talk to databases at the back end without being a SQL programmer. You can just do so much more. And what this means is actually you can now democratize the software development process by bringing more end users into the process of understanding how to build applications, which then means what you do build is just that much better than what you've actually created previously. So this is all about accelerated applications development, but in a way that actually then people can actually relate to. And this is allowing applications to be created in a matter of hours and days. This isn't a 3 or 4 month project. You can fail fast, learn, adapt, evolve, push it out. It's all version managed. You've got DevOps built into the platform. So all of those issues where IT were normally overloaded with more and more work, the technology is actually making it much easier for everyone to work together more effectively.
Great. So I think, guys, everybody to go ahead and help out your IT team to take the load off their workload. I think you should go ahead and contact Steve about this and try to go ahead and learn a little bit more. And one last question before we go ahead and wrap this up, Steve, is that how was your entire experience at this event? The kind of people that you met, what did you like? What is the kind of general feedback about you? What are your thoughts about this?
There was a fantastic mix of people at this event. We actually had business people, we had systems architects, we had IT people. But the region has a level of comprehension about this technology that actually we haven't seen elsewhere. Other areas are kind of really early stage. Here, people are very excited about the possibilities, how they can actually move it forwards. And we've got countless sort of meetings to actually then follow up on.
Wonderful.
But the exciting part of it is the fact that actually we learn so much more from the customers that we start to deal with. Because like effectively an organisation where they're working with their subject matter experts, we actually work with our customers to add more and more functionality. So it's a win-win, and the way in which
this event, street.
Yeah, and the way that you basically bring people to us and introduce effectively like speed dating, but this is actually where we could actually then meet and talk to people in a way that's actually non-threatening and actually interesting for both parties.
Absolutely.
So thank you again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you over here, Steve.
Thank you.
Let's continue to accelerate, to inspire, and to learn with no-code innovation, guys. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.
Thank you.